Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain. Alright, so this one here, we're going to continue on our House VR Lane Carnival chain. So the next one here is a quest called Party Crashers. So the last video we just completed the small problem, which was the first part. The next part here is Party Crashers. Alright, so just like the other one, we actually have two entrances. We've got the main chapter house. The one though we want to step into is the Illusionarium, so don't feel bad if you do step in on this door. It just means you got to step through an extra door. You know what? I'll actually show you where here. So we're gonna step in through the big main door here, as I know this does happen from time to time. Oop, that's the wrong hireling. I wanted this hireling. I can actually move them on my bar here. Alright, so if you do happen to spawn in here, it puts you into this room, but unfortunately they will not let you pass here. So there's nothing that you can do here at this point. What you would then need to do is select this door here to the south and just enter into the Illusionarium. It'll actually put you right next to here, which is where you would have entered in if you had selected this door to begin with. Alright, so now that we're in the quest and I got that little introduction over, so this one here, they have these marks of shadow. Once you start attacking them, the enemies will become activated, so it does give you a little bit of time to buff up and such before you start. So there are some lions there, and there's an enemy there. One thing to note, if you kill the mark before they get to you, which I don't know if I'll be able to do.
The air in the illusion area is
so if you just focus on the mark, once it is
the
destroyed,
around you
everything else dies.
The way deeper into the illusion area is open.
And if you're worried about kills, it also counts everything as a kill. So all those guys that did immediately die, they went into our misadventures there. Alright, and it's the same thing here in this room as well.
The air suddenly shifts from tropical heat to bitter cold. It is as if you were teleported leagues away, rather than just having walked a few feet.
So this one here, they have a whole bunch of enemies in. Again, same things. You can even approach it. Nothing happens until you actually attack it. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to drop down my flame turret and really just lay into that shadow as fast as we can. And again, everything dies. Now this quest does have a lot of flowering plants. Now these ones just drop the lily petals, but they do also have like mushrooms and such as well. Alright, at this gate here,
signal crystals attached on top. Are they simply decorative? With House VR,
turn down that
can't tell.
DM narration there a little bit further. There we go. So in this one here, before we actually get right up to our left, there is a trap box. Now this doesn't completely disable everything. It does disable the spike traps on the floor. However, once you cross over the threshold there, it does potentially cast like a slowing effect on your character. Obviously, you can make the save, which we should be able to do there. And so that's the trick in here. And again, just another seal to break. Easy peasy. This one here,
through the skylights above, the light from outside does not reach this room. The only illumination comes from phosphorescent heat.
So this one here has a whole bunch of sprites, and as you can see, again, harmless. However, these ones activate not when we start attacking the crystal, but as soon as we actually walk underneath these gates here. So even if we go underneath here to pick up the mushrooms, it will activate. So I'm actually going to drop this down here. Just kind of show you there. So if you would, maybe they fix that. Oh, cool. It appears that they have fixed that. Alright, so either way though, as soon as you walk under this gate, that is when they become aggravated. But again, come up top, same as always, destroy the mark, and everything else dissipates. Alright, now once that is done, you can either choose to continue walking back around the outside edge, or if you have the jump, just make the jump here, and we continue off southwest. Now this one here, again, it does have a trap box. It's actually located between on the wall here. Now it will activate if you walk up too close here. So just make sure you grab that trap beforehand. Now this one here, if we use our tab, we can actually target the mark from outside here. I do not recommend shooting it before you actually step in the room. There is a little bit of a bug, whereas if you shoot it from out here, it doesn't actually show you which one is the real one, and I'll explain a little bit in a moment. So if you actually have true sight, so at this level, if you have the DM's vision, it will point out which shadow mark is the real one. Now once you're in this room and you shoot them, notice how it creates a bunch of copies, but they're all purple except for one. Now this one does change where it is. So it's not always that space. It could have been the one over here. It could be the one up there. It changes. So as the true sight from shooting it while we're inside, it shows which one. However, if you are outside of the room, when you shoot it, it will erect barriers here. But even after that, when you re-enter the room here, they'll all appear as yellow. None of them will appear as the purple and the off color. So it really then becomes, again, a guessing game. So the trap that we had disabled is actually just an air jet trap, so it doesn't actually hurt us. However, if you did notice, there were some kind of purple looking spikes. What those are is basically illusionary spikes. They do not go after a reflex save like most traps. In fact, these ones are a will save. So if you have a high will save, you don't really need to worry so much about this room. Alright, so for this one here, basically it's a sun-baked room, and again a mark of shadow. This one, however, once you attack it, it becomes a scorpion. So again, we do just got to be careful, as you know, especially on the harder difficulties. The scorpion is a pretty potent enemy to deal with. On normal, or not normal, but on the heroic, he still is kind of a bit of a pushover. Once the scorpion dies, then that's the mark gone. You can continue on.
This place feels like it's baked in sun. It's surprising that anything could live there.
Now, I don't know if I should do this because they may fix it if we do, but I am going to show you a trick that I use when completing this next part. So here we have a shrine if you need to take a respite, or we can continue on again southwest. Now the trick that I use in this part here, so this one here we have a giant, and there are actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but on the platforms, there's one in each corner. There is their own separate marks. Those marks restore the giant's hit points, making him a little bit of annoying to deal with, especially considering he is a stronger enemy. However, my trick involves, okay, first we're going to just prepare it. As soon as we cross these gates, they're both going to become activated. I just quickly pop back right through, and I take out the guide. From here, my trick involves just stepping through so that my bow is through the wall, allowing us to hit him. However, it's not actually letting him hit us. So even on epic, this trick does work, and I've used this so many times. We step out just enough so that our bow is considered out and is able to hit him. However, we are not far enough through to be considered actually through this barrier, so he cannot hit us. And it's kind of a little cheaty trick, but it helps you take out the enemy. That way you're not having to try and break these shadow marks with the giant chasing you. Alright, so each of these marks have their own defenses. So this one here slings a chain at you. Again, if you have a good will save, you don't have to worry. However, there is always chance of failure. Now, as you can see, for that brief moment, it does really reduce your movement speed. So if you have the giant chasing after you, that might be a little difficult. Our second one here, it spawns some enemies. Now I also want to point out, these ones don't actually start spawning when you, um, these aren't like the other ones that only start spawning once you attack them. Actually, the moment you step on the platforms, that is when it starts, or when you start attacking. So if we attack it or if we step on the platform, they will start their defensive animations. So again, this one spawns in the lions for this one. And like all the others, as soon as we break the mark, they die. And again, gives you count for them. This one here is a little bit trickier. So this one, it doesn't actually have any type of range defenses. However, if you try to go up and melee this one, it spawns in all those spikes. So this one is a rough one, and they do, because they are illusionary, they do change their positions. Again, making that one fairly difficult to do if you are in melee. Alright, and lastly we have our last one. This one here, it spawns again some enemies. They are just some wolves for this one here.
You've run through the gauntlet of House Viarlan's illusionary, but you still need to enter the chapter house and stop the maleficent cabals.
And once you complete all four of those, it does drop the barrier here to continue forward, and it actually rewards you with a chest. What? That might fetch me a couple of bucks, so... Alright. So in here's another trick. This is a trick that most people are aware of, however. So we'll get to that.
The Viarlan chapter house must have been closed as a precaution during the Grand Gala. The ballroom is on the far side of the chapter house, and it seems rather unlikely that House Viarlan simply left the way undefended.
Alright, so this one here I will be doing because I am going to stop and go through all the optionals of this quest, as there are quite a few. So the first bit here, we have these runes. They have 6 runes.
Gates, a large dragon mark of shadow is embedded into the wall. If it were to activate, you would not be able to destroy it as you did with the marks in the illusion.
So these 6 runes are actually go to that big mark. So we can't, like he said, we can't actually target and destroy this. So if we try to go through there, this activates and it sets up a whole line of security for us. However, if we actually are able to get all of these runes, each of these runes are attributed to one of your 6 stats. So ultimately they have one for each one. Strength, Constitution, Wisdom, Charisma, Intelligence.
Activating those
Once we have them all, it turns this off, allowing us to go through. So that's the first bit that we're going to do. The other one here is we're actually, I think I can open this door first. Yes. Alright. So the other one here is we need to open up this door here. We can't go through and open up this door yet, as we do need a key. However, we do need to open up this door as it locks us out. Alright, so from here we actually have 2 choices to go. We can head off to the north, which is the path that most people take. Now, most people also don't do all the optionals. They do a couple of them, and I will explain why and explain them as we go.
It looks like its shows are on hold during the Grand Gala.
Alright, so what we have here, giant stage, and there actually is, if you have the jump, which I'm gonna give myself a jump, you will be able to jump up and grab this. Now next to the rune wheel, we also have a control panel, which I'm gonna disable here. And this is part of another optional here as well, which we will get to. We just need one more bit of information yet. So the trick here to make this quest go by so much smoother is you actually just walk up the ramp. If you're on this side, so like on the railing here, you are able to jump up and grab this flat part here. Now you can't grab in the middle, and I don't believe you can grab on that side due to oh yeah, you can. So as long as you're able to jump up and grab them. Now a lot of people, because it is a little bit higher, find it is just easier to grab that, and then rather than this side, as obviously the flag gets in the way, plus you would have that little bit of extra boost, a little bit higher jump start. Alright, so now we're up top here. Don't think that they didn't intend you to be up here. As you can see, they did actually add in shrines. So this was an optional path that they had created for us to travel. And up here they just have some breakables, nothing special, as well as a collectible.
They probably won't attack you.
Alright, and from here, all we need to do is jump down and hop through this doorway here. Now, if you had triggered that alarm, that giant rune sigil earlier, this whole area would then fill up with enemies, and you would have to fight through them before you can progress further. Alright, so now we're going to step into the ballroom. Now our first objective is that list that we had tried to lie our way in, and he checked the list. We actually come in from the other side here, and we just add our names, and we also add Scion's name. Now once we add her name in, she actually spawns in this way and comes through. While she's doing that, she will just basically say, I'm on the list, and they let her through. She waits for you at the bar. Now, in the meantime, while she is doing that, most people start running around looking for the optionals here. Now, one of the drink servers, so one of the ones with all the drinks on them, is actually a tiefling spy. So we need to find
One
her,
of the drink servers looks
and
like an
as you
elf.
can see, her
You can
eyes
see through her disguise
give her away.
to the glowing red eyes of
So
her
if you
true
look at these
tiefling
ones,
form.
nothing. And then with this one here,
One of the drink servers looks like an elf,
glowing red eyes.
but you see
And
through her disguise
as you
to
can
the
see,
glowing red eyes of her
without
true
true
tiefling
sight, it doesn't actually appear those eyes. So you do still need true sight going in. Once you can see that, you can talk to them, and you can select off one of the options here. So we're going to try and bluff them. And then they will come off, and they will meet in the library here. Basically, it's a secluded
No one
area
is
where
using
you
the
can
library at the moment.
battle without
House
disturbing
Fiala and
the
elves must appreciate
party
their
guests.
parties more than a good book.
So you just gotta wait for her to enter. She'll walk in a bit, and basically then they realize it's a trap. There's not here, and then they attack you. And I love the battle music in here. Alright, so we're gonna grab
Sire
our
should be able
chest.
to find an antidote for any poison the party guests have already imbibed.
So that is the first major optional that people do, along with one of the other ones out in that room. Now each of these will drop a chest. I'm going to wait until the end to get them all. They also have at the back of the room here a hidden door revealing a key. Now this key will actually unlock a chest located on the second level there. Again, I will just grab that one in a short moment. Alright, so the second of the tieflings in this room is actually this guy here. He is always in the same spot. The drink server walks around, so we got lucky with her being right here. I've had her all the way in the corner by the bar, in that other corner, randomly walking, and they do walk around.
The party guest here seems like a harmless old elf, but that facade does not fool you. You easily see through to the malicious tiefling underneath.
So again, you can't really see it due to the lighting, but I'm gonna see if it shows. Yeah, you can see a small, slight glow to his eyes. Again, the lighting isn't the greatest. On the blue background, you can kind of see it, but again, same thing. Zoom back out here. Just want to bluff him, intimidate, or any of the options really. And he'll actually enter in this room with all these guards. Now these guards, they are normal elves. He's essentially just brainwashed them. So they actually give you an optional to free them without killing them. Now in order to free them, we have to just kill the one guy. Now that can actually be a little bit difficult, as you can't use most of your normal crowd effects.
Anyone under his mental control has been set free.
On the lower difficulty, like heroic difficulties, he does die fairly quickly, as he doesn't have the health pool that he has in epics. If you are able to kill him without, like, even if you happen to kill the guards, like, it's not a big deal. You do lose out on a little bit of experience, 395, but it's not like you fail the quest. From here, we have a couple of chests, so we're going to grab the one from here. Grab the one from the other fight there, so those are those two fights. And then we're going to head upstairs and grab the one that was from the locked door. Now, all three of these chests, none of them actually drop any named items. And as you know, most times I run past the chest. However, because there's so many so close, I usually find it worthwhile to just stop and pick them up. Alright. So now we do still have a few more optionals. Now these are the ones that, so there's one more. Actually, I'll do that one first. So those two tieflings, and then if we come upstairs here, we have a locked door right here, the private rooms. Now, most people just tend to pick the lock to gain access to this room. However, there is actually a key that you can obtain by doing one of these optionals along the side here as well. However, most people just pick the lock or use knock on the door to open it up. And just do these 3 optionals to deal with the tieflings. Now there's 2 ways to deal with him. If we actually just use true seeing and tell him, I know you're a tiefling, then he fights you right away. If you run past him, they'll fight you right away. If you select bluff, and you have the bluff skill for it, he will actually just like, oh, okay, you are a party guest, we're gonna lead you to the bathrooms. The bathrooms are located at the very end of the hall to the left. Now there are 2 ways to get in here. You can just wait for him to come through and open the door as it is currently locked, or if you're impatient, you can always pick the lock yourself and then go on in. Once in here, in these stalls actually are your shrines. They are located in the toilet paper rolls. So there's our resurrection. And here's our healing. It's kind of a neat, unique little thing that they added in. As well, in the restroom, there is a hidden door. Now, what these hidden doors do, they allow you to fight all the tiefling that they brought in. Basically, they brought in an entire attack force. Basically, as I guess a last-ditch effort, they wanted to eliminate the Viceroy. First, they tried poison. They tried brainwashing the guards so that, you know, worst comes to worst, they don't have any guards to deal with. And then lastly, I guess if all else fails, a whole troop of enemies. So if we choose to go through this hidden door, we can fight them actually bit by bit. So rather than if you just run up, you'd actually have to fight them all together at once. It does just make it for a little bit easier, as not having to deal with essentially the boss and all the extras. Plus it gives you all the hidden sight for the secret doors. And lastly, we have this one here. This one actually does have the largest group of these enemies, and they do have a couple of casters in there as well. So just watch yourself. Alright. We have one guy who didn't want to join the fight. As you can see, they also have a ton of other collectibles, so it's not just the flowers there. Alright, and then once you're done, just head on through this door. The guard sees you, transforms into his tiefling form, and attacks. Let's just get rid of the poison there. Once you've done all that, you can actually come back here, loot this chest. Now this chest can actually contain named items. They're not overly potent and powerful, but they are a named item. There's a few of them. I'm not going to bother re-rolling those chests because they really aren't worth re-rolling. Alright, once you've completed those 3, or not, it is totally your choice. You can go ahead and actually talk to Cyan. So you can say, like, I've eliminated the tieflings, I've taken care of the cabal, I'm sure there's nothing else to do. She will then proceed and slowly, as you can see, walk all the way to the back of the room and open up that door, which will take you to the end fight area. Now, to point out, There are still a few more optionals in here. So if we talk to some of these people. No, this one here. So Thaddeus has one. This is with that stage that we were talking about earlier, and he actually gave you stage notes. Now we have another one here. This guy has an urn that is very valuable to him, and he wants it back. And he gives us a key. So remember that room that had all those paintings along the wall? This is the key to open up that door to go a little bit further in. And then we have this illusionary sculptor. So if you talk to him, he's not very happy at some of the stuff they're doing, so he gives you a crystal to change one of these statues. Now, you can decide to go back through this door and all the way through. However, if you actually come back here, now that we've added our name to the list, they allow us to freely come through. And again, we can just go through the Illusionarium. Now, it does create a little bit of a run, because you got to run all the way through the Illusionarium again. But it is a lot safer, and it does avoid all the fighting that you would have to do, and the additional traps and such from going through the chapter house. Alright. So one thing to point out, those three main optionals that we had already completed, the one with the brainwash guards, the one with the poisoner, and then finally the one with the Cabal troops, each one of those are a part of the end fight. If you do one of them, that part is left out of the end fight. If you actually do all three, there is no end fight to speak of, making that end fight area actually rather comical. And it is probably my favorite part of this quest. But basically what happens is, if you only do one or none, you end up having to fight them all in that one end room. This is why most people, when they run this quest, they do choose to do as many of those optionals as they are physically able to do, because again, it comes down to, though we had went through them fairly easily, if we would have had to deal with all of them at once, that does make things a little bit more difficult. Which is why, like, even the Cabal, when they had their all the tieflings had their kind of attack force, you could fight them all at once, or it also gave you that option to fight them group by group. Alright. So now that we have our pieces and we're back to this room here, the first thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pass under this, now that we have disabled all those runes, and allows us to come to this sculptor here. Now this is the one that the guy had crafted, and they were just like, it's okay. Well, it allows you to activate with this illusion crystal, and you change them. And there's the new thing. So we basically just turn the Viceroy and the plaque here, the Lord, he's the master illusionist, is a pig. So it's kind of a big ode insult to him. Alright, so our next one here, we're just gonna head south. And off to into his office here. So now that we have our key, we're allowed to enter. Now I do want to point out, in this room here, if you see on the desk to the left, there actually is a key that jeweled private room key. That's the key required to unlock that other door if you didn't go through that early. Like if you didn't pick the lock to fight that cabal in there. The other thing I want to point out is once we do enter in this room, so there's a sigil up there, this one hasn't been deactivated. So it will spawn a group of enemies and a fight in here.
The rest of the chapter house is well equipped, but the furnishings in the vice-regal office are on the earth.
So as soon as we try to leave,
it appears that the viceroy has been using it as a garbage bin.
it creates that rune wall, kind of a little root wall, and it spawns in a whole bunch of enemies. So it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security. It's like, oh, hey, nothing happened. Okay. And most people don't actually stop to look up either. Alright. Now that that's done, I'm just going to break some stuff. Break all that. Grab the key, though at this point we've already unlocked the door, so it is pointless. We do have one last room here. Now it is locked and you cannot pick the lock here, the door. You actually obtain that key in the very end chest and allows you to come back through there. So I will show you that through at the end of the quest if you are interested. Alright, so we did those two. The last one here, it is the stage notes. So it does deposit an item in your inventory for the stage notes. Now, there is very specific ones that you gotta turn it to. I myself do not have this memorized. I just use the DDO wiki, which I will leave a link in the description to the page that has this information on it. That way, if you are looking to do that as well, you'll have that. The reason I say that is there are a few different stage notes here. So just one moment here, I'm going to pull up my wiki. Alright, so ours that we have is the hero set. So it's hero sales, hero faces, hero recovers. They have other ones, Great Evil, Healer. They have two different hero ones. They have an Immigrants and an Innkeeper. So there are a total of, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different combination possibilities. So the one that we have is the hero sales to destiny. So we have the hero 1. So we gotta set the runes to specific ones. And unlike most, this rune wheel is actually set upside down. So if you look at the very bottom where that triangle is, that is the active one. So for this one, it does tell us to first set it to the red diamond. We would want it to be there rather than at the top like most cases. Once we have that, we want to pull the lever and it changes the background. So there's the hero sailing off to his destiny. Scene 2, he faces unspeakable evil, which is actually this one here. Next we have the green circle. Yes. So this is recovers from his injury in House Jarasco. Then again, he fights some more unspeakable evil, so it's back to the blue triangle. And then we have the hero is welcome back to Stormreach. And then finally the ceremonial burial. So this one is the, so here's the first one here, the welcome back to Stormreach. And then finally receives a ceremonial burial after his passing. That is this one here. Now, once we pull that last one, the floor actually gives way. Now, as you see all these circular objects, these are actually spinning blade traps. If we did not disable that trap box, soon as we fell in here, that would have activated these traps. As well, we also have an enemy here as well. And again, this chest can contain named item, like a named item. Again, not very good. That's not bad. I'm gonna grab that. But again, named item. And then lastly, we can pull this lever here, which creates a ladder and another illusionary floor. So this is the last scene there. If you guys are wondering, that's actually a depiction from inside of Delira's graveyard of Gygax's memorial there. So they kind of immortalized him in 2 locations there. So now that we've done all 3 of those extra side optionals, so that one had the chest here. The other 2, they also actually give you chests as well. Though those chests, they are located in the same room from those gentlemen that provided those quests. So just a moment for us to get a little bit closer there. Alright. So one thing I'm not too sure, because again, I don't normally do these optionals. I normally just do those 3 main ones and leave it at that. Because we had triggered the security in the main office there, I don't know if when we hop down here, if it's gonna create the root wall, and no, so we're good. Okay. Alright, so now we can turn in these quests here. So we got one for Drake, and it gives us a tiny little lockbox of loot. These ones are just random loot, nothing special. Now you can return to Thaddeus, but he's very pompous, and I understand why his stagehand was trying to kill him. If you talk to him, it's like, well, did you investigate? Yes, he was lying in wait. You talk to him? I see how you're both conspiring against me. It's like, yeah, no. We're not conspiring. We stopped him, but he doesn't care. And then finally, the illusionary sculptor here. Talk to him. And basically, yeah, you just compliment him. That sculpture you swapped it with is pretty good. Alright, so now that that's done, all we have left is to actually step into the end room here and do the end fight. So they do have a couple of breakables here, if you quickly grab those. Alright, and also to note, it does lock you in here as well. And all that's left here is to enjoy the comedy here. So this guy comes in with just so many plans, like, oh, you drank your cup? Yeah, we already got rid of the poison. That's fine. How about your own guards? Ha ha ha, they're brainwashed. And then he's like, yeah, we got rid of them too. Oh, well, shoot. Well, fine, now we got all the assassins. Oh, you mean the guys in the private rooms? Yeah. And then he just gets like, all my plans. And just gets all upset. And then this part here I just love. Have a drink. Try to relax. and basically they hand him a cup full of his own poison. And it's just like, wait, what? Oh no. And that is that there. So that basically concludes the quest. As you see, a fairly nice chunk of XP, not including the optionals. So we do have 3 chests here. If you are doing this on the epic version, you also have the epic chest there as well. But those ones are hard to miss. They're very bright and glowing purple. So now, this is where we get that contraband key. Now, so many people are always asking, what is this key for? Because you don't get it until you complete the quest. So, if you're not interested, feel free to end the video here. Thank you for watching. And however, what we're going to do here is I do want to pop back. And again, this is why a lot of people choose not to run these ones. It's just for how long it is. What I am going to do though is I am going to go through the chapter house and go back this direction. We're going to see if these traps actually trigger. And if they do, you'll just get to see what exactly they entail, as well as it allows us to watch it. Look at some of these sculptors here. Alright, so as soon as we go over there, you heard the sound. That's what sets off the trap here. Spawning in all of these enemies. So they will actually spawn all the way to the end door. They do spawn in groups, so if you're going, just go slow. And then as we approach a little bit further, it's going to spawn in another wave, and another wave, and I think there's 4 or 5 waves total. So just watch yourself. This one here, as we approach the center, it traps you in with 2 sets of illusionary spikes. Now these ones, they don't go anywhere. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to call my hireling and have him fully heal me up. Now, a little trick to get through this is if you have jump, you can actually hop on these pillars here and just hug the wall, and you can avoid the traps, or you can just try to run through them. I don't recommend that because they do hurt. Alright, from here we're right back into the room with the pig, but because we came through the doorway, it spawns in a group of enemies. So if you tried to, other than this room here, if you tried to keep running past, once you step through the doorway, it would create that giant wall of illusionary spikes that do not let you pass until you kill the enemies. So that's what you have to look forward to if you try to go this path. Again, this is why most people choose not to. Now the reason this one's activating now is because we had gone through all the others and activated them. Normally, as you saw when we walked past with the pig, this one doesn't actually go off if we pull all those rooms there. Alright. So now we're going to head back into here. Now honestly, I think this one here should give you a little extra experience, just due to the fact of all the extras that you got to do in order to get it. Like, you got to first open up this door before you complete the quest. Otherwise, the door locks and you can't get in. You also have to have talked to the other optional to get the urn, so you can even unlock this door here. And then finally, of course, go through all that. So there's a lot of prerequisites for this one that make it difficult to actually get in, but since we did them in the correct order here, we can actually now enter in the contraband storage. And here they have a giant devil statue. However, once we break the statue, we realize it's not actually a statue. And if you look at his hit points compared to all the other enemies that we faced that have about 1,000 at most, this guy's nearly 4,000, so he is a very difficult boss. As well as you see, his credit rating is CR 17, which the quest itself is only a level 7 quest. So he is a very difficult fight, and just be prepared for that if you are coming in for that. But it does give you a little bit of experience. Again, I think it's worth a little bit more. However, a little bit further in, it does award you with 2 chests and a collectible for completing the quest. These chests, though, they don't have anything special. They are just random generated loot. And that's that. So that's what that contraband key is for. I hope I've answered any of those questions that anybody would have about this quest. Thank you guys so much for watching. All that's left is to turn it in. So thank you again for watching, and have a good one all.